Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of my podcast. So today I'm going to be talking about a few different things. Again, no specific structure, just things I think that are going to resonate with you. So I'm going to be talking about feeling like a priority, finding a vacation in every day, outgrowing people, being the main character, just a couple things I've been thinking about recently and have been seeing online. So yeah. Okay, I want to talk about that quote, find a vacation in every day. So I saw this online and I was like, yes, like I agree with that 1,000,000%. So for me, my little vacation would be getting a coffee or going on a walk with my dog. Obviously, a vacation is quite expensive, quite a big thing. We maybe do it here and there, but I'm talking about finding the little things that are going to make your day. So working in a job, especially a job you might not necessarily like, it's quite easy to get sucked into the element of like, this is boring, I want to leave, like, it's the same thing every day. But it's up to you to make it interesting. Well, it's up to you to leave a negative situation that you're not enjoying. But say you can't, it's up to you to make your day more interesting. Or even if you enjoy what you're doing, like I love my job, but it's up to me to make my days interesting and to make sure that I don't fall out of love with it. I don't look at my screen 8 hours a day and start to feel like it's getting a bit boring and repetitive. I make a conscious effort to find my vacation, to go out on a walk, get some air, go get a coffee, go for lunch, do anything that's just like gonna get me excited and out of the house, and just something to think about at the end of the day and be grateful for, that actually that was a really fun day, like something strange happened, or I spoke to a stranger, or something funny, or like there was an animal I haven't seen before. Just like tiny little things just makes you really think, like if I stayed at home or if I hadn't gone out in the evening or whenever, I wouldn't have seen that. And all these things create like little lessons or like memories, and they're the things to be grateful for. Obviously the big things in life is so amazing and people love saving for their big purchases and big holidays, but I think it's so important that we do find a mini vacation in every day. And even if that's like a vending machine in your job, just something that's gonna get you a little bit happier, put yourself out of your comfort zone, maybe speak to a new coworker, or if you're not working, go out on a walk, why not? Or in the evening when you've got a bit more time, go to the gym. You know that you can do things that's going to make you feel better, give you endorphins, all these different things, but it's up to you to make the conscious effort to make your life more interesting. It's so easy to kind of blame the outside and be like, this is so boring, it's the same thing, but it's really up to you. And you'll become a more positive person when you start to do that, and you start to be grateful for the small things. I work from home, so there's not a lot of interesting things going on a lot of the time, but I will find something, and that small little thing will probably make me smile 10 times harder than a big thing. And I don't know, it's because it's an off-guard moment, I guess, and you're not expecting it, or you kind of had no plans, so you weren't really expecting it to be a fun day at all, but you've gone out your way to do something a little bit different, maybe taken a different route to work, and something's happened that just makes you smile. And I think that's important, and that's what I mean by it. I think it's quite easy to what I say, fall into the matrix a bit. Go to work, go out drinking at the weekend, be hungover, sleep, repeat. I think it's so important that you get out of your comfort zone, you do hobbies or find things that's going to bring your soul peace. It's so easy to kind of do that, be a bit lazy, and just whenever you get the chance, just rest on your phone and look at TikTok or whatever. But it's up to you to make that effort to get up and to do a hobby. If you're good at drawing, singing, art, dancing, get back into it. Or just go on a walk if you're not really sure, if you don't have any hobbies. Just getting a bit of fresh air is so important. Otherwise I feel like you start to get into a very repetitive cycle, and for me, I hate repetition and or being overwhelmed or anything. So it's quite easy for me to sit there and just blame the world and be like, oh, it's so boring, I hate this, I hate that. But no, it's up to you to, one, make the change, get out of a negative situation, but two, find the good in any situation you're placed with. So find a vacation in every day and make sure you are breaking out that matrix and you're not doing the same repetitive things that are lowering your vibrations. You can do that, but you have to balance it with something good for the soul, something good for you, your personality, things that you can do by yourself as well. I feel like I really struggled when my friends went to uni and my loved ones got jobs and they were so busy. And I relied on them for my entertainment and my fun days. Once that happened, I realised I was kind of alone. I've got to be able to have fun by myself. So that's when I would go out my way to find these little vacations, to go on different walks and little like missions each day or whatever it may be, and I absolutely love them, and I feel like they're the moments that bring me the most joy now, is like being by myself and doing one of my hobbies, as much as I love going out with my friends and everything. But it's true, I feel like you need to find something that's personal to you, that your friends can go, oh yeah, Maisie's into that, that's her thing. You need to be able to have that and be able to do it with or without people, because we're getting busy, we're adults, we don't always have free time for everyone. So it's so important that you find something, you know, at the weekends, after work, even in work, that's going to cheer you up and be personal to you, bring you joy without having to rely on anything or anyone else. Okay, so I always say that I'm constantly learning things about myself, and I am, like, every day. So I wanted to take an example of something that I feel like I've been learning a little bit about this week, and just kind of walk you through how I kind of self-analysed it and see if it resonates with anyone, and like the importance of the conclusion I came to, basically. I do a lot of therapy and like journaling and everything, but I feel like the moments where I learn the most things about myself is the off-guard moments, the moments that have caught me out a bit, and I've really gone, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And you put two and two together of like, oh, my upbringing was like that, and that equals this. It just makes a lot more sense. So my thing at the moment is, I like to be a priority. I like to feel like I'm at the top of someone's list with my friends, my family, relationship. I like feeling like I am the main thing there. And I got triggered this week because I can't remember what happened, but I think I got cancelled on. Like one of my friends, we made plans and it got cancelled, and I got really triggered. And the reason I got triggered is because of my upbringing and how, or like my past and everything that's happened. So for me, feeling not prioritised in my head goes down as they don't care about me, or I would have done that for them, why don't they do it back? And it becomes a very like blame game thing. I think because I'm quite intense with my friendships, and I would drop anything at a hat. So like if I had a list of things to do and then my friend said, should we go here? I would drop that and go out straight away, because I love spending time with people. So any chance I get, I'll do it. And I realised how like bad that was, because then I'm expecting all my loved ones to reciprocate that same energy back, and that's not always possible. You know, things come up, people are different, you know, different attachment styles, or they're busy, or they're genuinely ill or something. So it's important to learn that, like, okay, how can I figure this out? So I was like sitting there and I was like, why am I so upset and triggered? And then I kind of did the self-analysing thing, and I was like, this is kind of like a common theme now with a few of my friends and stuff, and I'm like, I can't always expect them to be constantly putting me above and beyond, obviously within reason, like if you made plans or something, or like, you know, your friend should be checking on you or whatever. But I was like, okay, so if my issue is I don't feel prioritised, how can I change that without having to rely on them? And then I realised, okay, if I'm gonna drop everything at a hat and they're not gonna do that, then I need to change this round, because it's a healthy thing to prioritise yourself first of all, and then, you know, your job at the time or your family or whatever's important. So for me, I was like, no, I need to take control, and I need to make sure that I say no. If I have a list of things to do, I have to do those first. I can't always be going out and just leaving all my stuff behind, because the more I do that, the more I'll be expecting people to do that back to me. And then I'll get triggered when it doesn't happen. So I started to piece the pieces together, and I was like, okay, no, I'm going to switch this. I'm now going to do my thing that doesn't involve anyone else. I'm going to do my list of things before I go out. I'm going to give myself the needs of being prioritised, make sure my self-love. If I want to go to the gym, I'm going to go to the gym before I go out for a meal with my family and friends. I've got to put myself first. So that's basically what I did, and I just thought it was really interesting the way that I kind of self-analysed it. You know, I've been like with therapy, journaling, and this wasn't, you could have told me this 2 years ago and would have gone in one ear and out the other, but it was something that I've seen quite common now, is like, I feel like if I'm not prioritised, they don't care as much as I care. So I have to like not take it so personally and just realise, well, hang on a sec, there's so many different factors to things like this. And the most important thing to do is, okay, well, how can I give myself the needs that I'm after if other people can't right now for valid reasons? And that's what I've done. I've switched it. And I've realised that I can give myself the priority needs, and it's a bonus if my friends can too. So that's something I learned. I thought it was important to share, like, all things I learn and keep you in the loop. But I feel like it might resonate with a few people. You know, don't take things so personally. Make sure you're giving yourself the things that you're expecting others to give you first. Because if there's still internal work to do, going up to someone and kind of trying to compromise with them or set a boundary is great because they're given their half of, their share. But if you can't meet them halfway either because you haven't done the work, then it's not going to work anyway, no matter how hard they try. So you need to make sure that you go away and think, anytime you have a situation, just sit down and think, is this a me issue? Like, am I triggered? Does this come from my childhood or something? Before you then go up to the person with your issue and try and think of a solution on their side. I think it's just important to always do that, and it probably would save you a lot of arguments if you do the work and think, no, I'm literally just triggered, like this is just my anxiety or my PTSD or something. Let me solve this myself first. And then if it's a reoccurring issue, you then go forward with the other person and talk about it, or the experience, your job, whatever it is that's triggered you. But I just think that's important to share, and an example of kind of giving yourself that self-love first, or that priority, or the need you want, before going and kind of attacking others for not compromising with your needs. Okay. Another thing I want to talk about is being the main character. So I saw this again on TikTok, and this mentality really helped me probably a couple years ago. I went through a weird paranoia stage of my anxiety where I kind of thought I was on the Truman Show, and if you've seen that, you'll know exactly what I mean. And I'm not even going to talk about it because it still stresses me out a little bit. But I kind of was in this mindset of like, I feel like I'm being watched. I feel like I'm being filmed. A lot of things were going on, and I was kind of like, this feels like a movie. And that used to really freak me out. But then a couple years later, I was just like, I could use this to my advantage. If I try and romanticize my day each day and kind of see myself from like a bird's eye point of view, like a third person, my day's going to be more interesting. I'm going to like enjoy the plot twists and kind of read it as if it's a book rather than another hurdle or another thing I didn't see coming, or do you know what I mean? So I've started to look at my life as if it's my movie, my book, and I'm the main character, and any good or bad things that happen are literally just plot twists and like good writing, basically, is how I see it. And I really try and romanticize my life, and even if it's the silly things like buying a nice cup to pour your coffee in, then take a photo, do you know what I mean? Or buying a nice outfit, or a nice like tracksuit, even if you work at home, just romanticizing a bit where you're in a nice tracksuit, you feel good about yourself, you feel like if someone was to be watching you, you feel good. I don't know, it's really kind of changed my outlook a little bit. And for me, like in COVID days, like I really struggled, and something that really helped me was I'd make like little vlogs of my day. I think a lot of people did in COVID, but it would be silly things. It would be like me making an iced coffee, and I'd try and make it look really aesthetic, and then like me going for a walk with the dog, me painting or editing or whatever it was, and I would like make a vlog, add a nice soundtrack, and I'd watch it back and I'd actually be like, that looks interesting, and like that, I'm proud of that. Post it, even though the day might not have felt that like extravagant, it looked good. And the more I did it, the more I actually started to believe it, and I was like, no, my days are actually quite fun. They do look like that. They do look, even though it's silly little things like walking the dog, I was starting to enjoy watching my own vlogs back. And that was something that really helped me, and I was literally romanticising lockdown and like what I was doing. And I love doing day in the life now, like when I'm working, like I enjoy my job, but like it just looks even better when I like make a vlog out of it. And a lot of people don't like it when it's like fake aesthetic, and I really try not to do that. Like I don't ever want to like fake a scene of like me making coffee. Like if I'm genuinely making coffee, I'll film it, otherwise I'm not filming it. But I love it. I just feel like it's a good way to look back even on the boring days and think, no, that was still fun. And that's why I love Be Real as well, because like even the days where I'm doing nothing, I'm just working, it's quite interesting to go back and see what I was doing each day. And as I said before, making sure you're making the conscious effort to make something a bit more interesting is so important. And I think it comes with this whole being the main character thing. If you go out of your way to do something, kind of what I think is like, if I genuinely don't get out of bed and I don't go walk this dog, or I don't do this, that's going to be a really boring chapter of this book or a really boring episode of this movie. And that's kind of the mindset I've had, is each day I'm trying to make an interesting episode, basically, and I'm the main character, so I need to go out and do something. And that's really motivated me. It might seem like a really weird way of explaining this, but just for motivation wise, like filming my days really motivated me, because then the next day when I was feeling like lazy, I was like, no, I need to make a vlog, I need to do something interesting, I need to go out and do this. Or like with work, it's like, oh, I need to make a reel, but I can't be bothered to do this task. Well, I need to, because I need to film it. So it's not necessarily for like the aesthetics, but just more for me, and like romanticising my life, looking back at it, I just find it interesting. It works for me. I don't know if it will work for everyone, but I just think that was a good thing I saw, was the more you start to walk around and feel like you're the main character, the more interesting life seems to get, and you start to be grateful for the small parts of like your episode. And I think it really helps when like there's plot twists, because I now am so excited for any plot twists that happen. Obviously, can no one die, please? That would be horrible. But, you know, even when bad things happen or really good things, it's like so exciting now, especially being in my 20s. I'm like, what's next? Like, throw it at me. I feel like quite strong enough to deal with things now. And I know, as I've said before, that it's redirection 100% always takes you onto something better. And I know that no matter what happens, good or bad, it's preparing me to become like the best version of myself, to be rewarded with what's meant for me. And I'm quite excited to see how that plays out. And then the plot twist that happens in maybe 2 years that I wasn't expecting. I'm now grateful and excited for all the ups and downs of life rather than nervous. I used to be such an anxious person, and now I've kind of just let go, and I'm just like, I'm just going to go with the flow and see what God has in store for me, because ultimately he wants the best for us, so I can trust him in that sense and know like it's not just going to go downhill forever. Like there's going to be ups, but I just find it interesting, and romanticising my life has kind of helped me with that. So now, like, if there's an argument or there's an issue, it's interesting. It's a plot twist, and it's also a lesson. I'm like interested into, what is this going to teach me? What is this showing me? Because so many things have happened, and I've learned and realised so much that I would have never noticed before. I'm so grateful that like it's kind of cleared my brain and I can see things clearly now. So now I get excited for when these things happen, because I think, well, if something bad's happening, then that means a lesson's going to come from it, which is going to level me up and make me realise a lot, which ultimately brings me more peace. The more I'm realising about myself, the more self-aware I am, the happier I am. So I'm quite excited for my lessons now. Hopefully more good lessons than bad, but overall, I'm genuinely excited. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about like outgrowing friends, because I feel like I've done quite a lot of this from like middle school, upper school, up till now really. But outgrowing friends is a completely normal part of life. It's sad sometimes when like there isn't necessarily an issue with a friend or something so minor that you know you could probably work out, but I feel like sometimes you just do outgrow people. It depends on your mental state, their mental state, whereabouts you are in life. Are you holding them back? Are they holding you back? And you probably won't be able to see it until that person's kind of out of your life, but outgrowing people is completely normal, and I don't want people to ever like cling on to people for the sake of it, or you know, the sake of what you've been through, or how long you've been friends, or even family is such an important one. Like, it does not matter what your bond is or anything, if you have outgrown someone, you know, and it is so healthy, because otherwise your mental state will be lowered. I've had a lot of friends where they had to deal with me when I was low vibrational, and I completely am fine if any of those friends push me away, like back in the day when they did, because I was not in a good place and they were probably at quite a high place, so it made sense that we didn't match. Doesn't mean like I didn't deserve any friends, I just probably deserved someone that was like capable of handling it, or maybe a bit more on my wavelength. We were both kind of struggling, or someone that was kind of all seeing that could help. But someone that's trying to be like high vibrational and they're kind of on the brink of healing really can't be constantly dealing with someone as low as I was back then. So it completely makes sense. And now that's why like now I'm going through that kind of like healing healthy thing. I love helping people, but you know when there's like that someone's draining your energy off you, you know when there's like negative energy, positive, and it's all low vibrational, all these things, and that's where you have to set boundaries and deal with people in doses. But it is kind of up to you to set boundaries, and also up to them to realise when they're being too much, and I've been on both ends of the spectrum, so I get that. But outgrowing friends as well, personality wise, I've done that too, because I'd say like a few years ago, like more like 5 years ago now, I had no clue what my personality was. I mirrored everyone. Like, I still do it to this day. It depends who I meet, but I feel a lot more in tune with who I am. I know what music I like. I know like what makes me happy, and I'm not trying to impress anyone anymore, or like trying to keep this persona that just isn't me. I'm finally at a point where like everyone in my life that's close to me knows the true real Maisie, if that makes sense. But back then I had no idea who I was, so I would just mirror everyone or try and impress people and do all those things. And then once I got to a point where I realised, actually no, I'm starting to like find myself, people didn't like that, because, and that's completely understandable too, because they made friends with someone who was X. I'm now over here Y. That's not someone that they merge with very well now, because it's not who they knew before. A lot of people don't like change, and if you genuinely don't really like get on with this new personality, which is my true personality, then it's completely fine that we didn't get on and we outgrew each other. But I was never gonna like continue to fake my personality, hold myself back in that sense to keep people around me. I had to kind of find myself and then break free. And if those people liked that personality and were still cool with it, then you grow with me. But it is hard when you change personalities and you actually realise, actually I don't really get on with that person, or actually we don't actually have that much in common. And that's completely normal, and I feel like that's something that a lot of people are seeing now. We're getting into like our 20s, well, me and my friends are, it's quite a prominent issue. But yeah, I never want, like, especially my younger people, I never want people to kind of just suck up to people because they want to impress them or something. Like, if you're not being your true self and you feel like you can't, then they're not the type of people to stay around with on both ends, if you're the person in it or out of it. I also think something I'm dealing with at the moment is like vibrations as well. Like, it's frustrating when you want to help people, or you see someone in a low position, and I've been there, I know what worked for me, so I try and give the advice, and if they don't take it, or they're not growing at the same pace as you, it can be frustrating, as much as that sounds like I'm on a high horse. But something I've realised is everyone just matures and grows at different paces. As I've said before, everyone has their own journey, their own path. God has laid it out. He's got loads of different lessons, experiences for you, good and bad. They're not going to be in line with my plan. We're all completely different. So I have to understand sometimes that the formula that worked for me isn't necessarily going to work for someone else, and I might be up here, they might not be quite as far as me, or they could be further ahead, further, even better than me, kind of third eyes opened, like they're proper like on their A game, and I'm not quite there yet. So it's kind of hard to catch up to them, or they kind of want to be left alone. So it's important to grow with people you love, but sometimes some people hold you back, or they don't let you be your true self. Sometimes you feel like you're not quite at the same level as someone else, and it kind of is like kind of feel like a lot of people struggle with like a mirror, like they look at someone doing pretty well and it's kind of a reminder of their life and like how much they're not progressing. But again, as I've always said, everyone's path is different. Your time will come. You have to be like grateful for your loved ones, grateful for your friends. When they've got a good opportunity come in, they're doing well, you clap for them, you applaud them. Your time will come and they'll reciprocate it back. It's just not your time yet. Everyone's paths and journeys are different. You might pop off at age 25, they might have popped off at 20. You could pop off at the age of 40. You just have to trust the process and know that your time will come. I never want people to kind of like lose friends in that element, but if it's really holding you back or it's really affecting you, then sometimes you do just outgrow each other, either too far up or too far below. So it's completely normal and natural, but don't be too picky and too egoistical, if that's a word. I feel like people are there to help you, support you. If they want to be around your energy and they want to help you, then they're the people you've got to keep close. If they're willing to get up to your level or push you to get to their level, that is a good friendship and that's all you need. But I think when one person's draining the other, or one person's holding someone back, and it becomes quite competitive, quite jealous, or you just don't really get on anymore, that's kind of where you need to know that you're growing up and it's completely fine. Some people, as I've said before, people come into your life for the exact right time and purpose. They've come in to teach you something, to give you the needs that you needed in that time. And unfortunately, sometimes that just does fade off. You've learned all the lessons, they've learned all the lessons, and now you've just gone in two completely different directions. And that's happened with a lot of my friends that I still love and have care for, but we're just completely different people. I wouldn't even know how to talk to them if I had a meal with them now. So it literally makes so much sense that it is completely normal to outgrow people. So never be scared to do that, but don't be pushing people away too far. A lot of people are there to help you, and if they've got good intentions, sometimes it feels like it's affecting you, but as I said before, make sure you look at yourself. Is this an internal thing? Is this a me issue? Are they still genuinely a nice person and I should probably keep them around, but I've just got an issue with something that they're reminding me of? Then yes, go work on that. That's your own thing. Don't cut people off because of your own issues. That's where you need to take accountability, go work on them, and realise that these people are here to help you. But yeah, it's completely normal to outgrow people. Okay, so that's it for this episode, just sharing a few different insights. I just feel like I quite like doing these sit-down videos where I've seen things online or I've learnt things, and I just feel like I should share them and keep you updated on my journey, my progress, because it's still an ongoing thing, forever will be. But sometimes it's just interesting to take quotes or things we see online and kind of look at them in a different perspective, and I'd love to share that and just get some of you guys to look at things in maybe a slightly different way than you would have, or give you ideas on how to better yourself. And as I said, with the hobbies and everything, it's just interesting to really be self-aware and self-critical of yourself just here and there. So I really hope maybe some of this resonated, but that is it. So I'll see you in another episode.